There's been a lot of rumors going around that Jandel might be stepping away from Grow a Garden, and here's the part that makes this story even crazier. Almost at the exact same time those rumors started spreading, a brand new Roblox game called Plants vs Brainrot suddenly exploded onto the scene. And when players dug a little deeper into who was behind that game, it turned out to be Jandel himself. So now everyone's asking, is this just a coincidence or is there actually a connection? Did Jandel step back from Grow a Garden because he wanted to focus on this new project, or are people just reading too much into it? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers and your support really helps me keep putting together deep dive content like this one. Alright, let's get into it. If you've played Roblox anytime in the past few months, you already know how massive Grow a Garden has become. It's one of those games that feels almost unavoidable on the platform. Everyone's at least heard of it, and most players have given it a try at some point. And tied to that success is one name we all recognize: Jandel. For years, players have associated Jandel as the main developer of Grow a Garden. He's the guy showing up at admin abuses, the one announcing major updates, and the one dropping sneak peeks inside the Discord server. Naturally, because he's been so visible, most players assume he's the mastermind behind everything. But the truth is a little different. Grow a Garden is made by an entire team of developers. Yes, Jandel is an owner and an important part of that team, but he isn't the only person coding, designing, or making decisions. That being said, something noticeable has been happening recently. Over the past few weeks, Jandel has been less and less active with Grow a Garden. He hasn't been hosting as many admin abuses, his announcements have slowed down, and most of the official Discord updates are now being handled by DJ Chai instead. And here's where things line up. That drop in activity happened right as a new game started blowing up, which is Plants vs Brainrot. Now, if you haven't seen Plants vs Brainrot yet, this was my first time checking it out too, so let me walk you through it. At first glance, you might think it's just another Brainrot cash grab, since dozens of those games have been popping up all over Roblox lately. So many of them look and feel the same, and yeah, the biggest one right now is Sammy Steal a Brainrot. But Plants vs Brainrot is different, the numbers don't lie. Even on a regular weekday, not a weekend when people are busy with school or work, the game is still pulling around 130,000 active players. That's enough to push it into Roblox's top 15 most played games, and here's the kicker. This isn't some game that's been around for years, it literally just launched. It was created on August 1st, 2025. So we're talking about a game that's barely 1 to 2 months old, and when you dig into the data, it's even more insane. Just a couple of weeks ago, the game was averaging around 10,000 to 20,000 concurrent players. Then suddenly, it spiked into the tens of thousands, and not long after that, it peaked at over 500,000 concurrent players. 500,000 people online at the same time. That kind of growth is almost unheard of, especially for a brand new Roblox release. Here's where things really connect. Plants vs Brainrot is officially owned by a group called Yogurt Studios, and if you check the ownership list, guess who's sitting right at the very top with the highest rank? Jandel. And what's more interesting is that this wasn't always the case. From what I've found, this only became official very recently, within the last few weeks. Which means, around the exact time Jandel started stepping back from Grow a Garden, he also took ownership of this rising new game. That's what makes the story so intriguing. The timing lines up almost too perfectly. On one side, you've got Grow a Garden feeling like it's losing momentum, updates starting to feel repetitive, players getting frustrated, and negativity spreading through the community. On the other side, you've got a brand new game that's exploding in popularity, with Jandel suddenly right at the center of it. And if you compare the two communities, the contrast becomes clear. In Grow a Garden's Discord, Jandel's activity has dropped significantly. The last time he made an announcement there was weeks ago, while most updates are now coming from DJ Chai. Meanwhile, over in the Plants vs Brainrot Discord, which already has almost 70,000 members, Jandel is fully active again. He's making announcements, asking for feedback, and even hosting admin abuses. In fact, during the time Plants vs Brainrot hit that record-breaking 500,000 concurrent players, it was because Jandel himself hosted an admin abuse. That's how much influence he has. Just by being active, he can bring insane hype and engagement to a game. It's basically the exact same role he used to play in Grow a Garden, except now he's doing it for this new project. Naturally, that shift has convinced a lot of players that Jandel is moving on. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Grow a Garden has been in a bit of a slump. The updates have gotten predictable, the gameplay loop leans heavily on trading rare pets and items, and most of the excitement is driven by hype rather than long-term content. That kind of cycle can burn out players, and even developers themselves. Before recording this video, I decided to actually test out Plants vs Brainrot myself. I played for around 20 minutes, and here's what I found. When you load in, you'll immediately notice it feels a lot like Plants vs Zombies. Your plants attack waves of brainrots, basically the same as zombies in PvZ. But the twist is, everything here feels refreshing. There's a shop system just like Grow a Garden. You have a restock button, a sell shop where you can sell brainrots and plants, and even a gear shop. The mechanics are simple but fun. Once you drain the HP of a brainrot, it gets added to your inventory. You have a bat for attacking brainrots, similar to steal a brainrot, and a shovel that works for the plants. You can also store brainrots in slots, which function like SAB, but unlike SAB, you actually have to purchase those slots instead of getting them for free. It's simple, but it feels different enough to stand out. That's why this game feels so refreshing. It's brand new, the hype is strong, the mechanics are exciting, and the community is still in that honeymoon stage where everyone's just having fun. For Jandel, it probably feels like a fresh start. A clean canvas where he can experiment with new ideas without the heavy expectations of Grow a Garden. Now this is where things start to feel less like coincidence and more like a clear shift in focus. Because if you think about it, Jandel didn't just casually join Plants vs Brainrot. He stepped into the top role of ownership. That's not something you do unless you're seriously invested in building the project. And it explains a lot. Why has he been quieter in Grow a Garden? Why are most of the announcements now handled by DJ Jai? Why does it feel like Jandel's presence in the community isn't what it used to be? Well, the answer might be simple. He's busy pouring time and energy into a new hit game that's growing faster than anyone expected. But here's the big question that a lot of people in the Grow a Garden community are asking. Does this mean Jandel is completely leaving Grow a Garden behind? The short answer is no, not exactly. Remember, Grow a Garden isn't a one-man project. It's built by a team with multiple developers and owners. Even if Jandel is shifting focus, the game isn't suddenly going to disappear. Updates are still rolling out, NPCs are still being added, and events are still happening. So the game itself isn't in danger. But the long answer? Things might not feel the same without him. Jandel has always been the front-facing figure, the one players connected with the most, and if he spends more and more time in Plants vs Brainrot, Grow a Garden could start to lose some of that personality and energy that he brought to the table. And honestly, you can see why Plants vs Brainrot would be so tempting for him. It's brand new, it's pulling in insane numbers, and it's hitting the Roblox front page harder than almost anything else right now. To a developer, that's like striking gold. 500,000 players is no joke, and when a game grows that quickly, it's hard not to focus on it. So what does this mean for us players? Well, if you're a fan of Grow a Garden, you don't have to panic. The game isn't going anywhere and the dev team is still actively working on it. But it does mean that Jandel might no longer be the same central figure he once was. Instead, his attention is shifting toward building up Plants vs Brainrot into Roblox's next giant hit. And if you're someone who loves trying out the newest games, this is a win for you. Because now, not only do we still have Grow a Garden to play and enjoy, but we also get this fresh, fast-growing experience in Plants vs Brainrot. It's like having two completely different flavors to choose from, both tied back to the same creator. But let me throw this back at you guys. What do you think? Do you feel like Jandel leaving Grow a Garden behind would hurt the game in the long run? Or do you think the dev team can keep the same level of quality without him in the spotlight? And on the flip side, do you see Plants vs Brainrot becoming a permanent front page game? Or is it just another trend that's gonna fade after the hype dies down? Either way, one thing's for sure. Jandel's story shows just how quickly things can change on Roblox. One day, you're leading one of the platform's biggest games, and the next, you're making headlines with a brand new project that's pulling in hundreds of thousands of players. And watching how this plays out is going to be just as interesting as playing the games themselves. So that's the situation right now with Jandel, Grow a Garden, and the rise of Plants vs Brainrot. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more updates on everything happening in the Roblox scene, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.